Bear with us.
If I'm bad at blocking, it's my fault.
This is true. So I'll run everybody kind of through everything we've done here with Sohei, and well, let's just jump straight into it. So, we'll start with the basics. Every hero has this. We have our light attacks. You can throw those, of course, in every single direction. You'll notice I'm not getting blocked here. I'm not getting kind of cancelled out. Every light attack for this hero, every light opener attack for this hero, I should say, is enhanced. So you you'll see later why this is very important.
Yeah.
So those are our lights. We have, of course, heavies as well. In every single direction. Pretty standard stuff. Everything you can kind of expect us to do.
And those heavies are pretty slow, but so I know some people are going to be worried about that.
Right.
But don't worry, we've thought of everything. It's going to be all good.
Don't be worried. We're just getting started.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Just getting started. There's so much more to show here. Now you might be running around the world. Might need to engage. So we have a light dodge attack, get you into combat right away. There we go. Light attack. We also have a heavy dodge attack. A sprint attack, sorry. Running around, get into combat, jump into the air with that Yari, smack opponent in the face. Dodge attacks.
We have light and heavy there, right?
Light and heavy sprint attacks.
I wonder why.
This will all be explained shortly. We have a zone attack. It's usual. Big swipe, big trajectory there.
Nice.
Scary thing. It's very usual. And we have a forward dodge bash as an opener. Now that's going to lead into stuff. We're going to get into that in a second. Just know that's a very important move for this hero.
Nice.
Now let's go into the chains. Let's get into the good stuff.
We have dodge attacks as well, right? So I have side dodge and front dodge.
We have the side dodge. Yes, we can do those. Yeah, here we go. Left light attack. Right light attack. Openers. We have right heavy attack.
Yeah,
and left heavy attack.
So there's a theme here, right? That every single, you can do front dodge as well, but
you can do front too.
There's a theme where every time you can do an attack, you always have a light and heavy version. Usually we don't really do this. So again, it's a sign of things to come.
All right.
It is a sign of things to come. This is a weapon master after all.
Exactly, right?
You should be able to do all these moves, right? There's a big groundwork being laid here. I can tell.
Exactly. So let's get into the good stuff. We'll swap back to our lights. They start enhanced, like I said. You can follow these up with another light attack. In any direction, all the time. Now the top one you would have seen there, it's a bit of an extra property there. This is an undodgeable follow-up on the light attack.
Yep.
And the left attack, kind of same thing. Light chain.
Cool here too is that, I don't know, players have probably noticed by this time, that second hit, that second light, always use one of the weapons that's on Sohei's back.
Correct.
So depending on which stance you use, if you're top, you can do it again, right? We're using that Tetsubo. If you're going on this side,
let's
wherever the stance
there you go. Let's do that again.
So we're using different weapons. So that was the Kama, and then if we try it on this side, it's a bit of the Katana there. So it's every single time that you use a light in your chains, probably your heavies as well, right?
Your heavies as well.
They absolutely all use the special, the extra weapons that Sohei is carrying, which is pretty interesting.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So
we have the same from heavies,
We'll
right?
go through the same rotation again. Heavy top into another heavy. Now, heavy follow-ups, you would have noticed that that's an unblockable attack there. So JC's doing a good job dodging there. We'll do the same on the sides. Do the right side heavy attack with a heavy follow-up. You can see, different weapons being used every single time, and same on the left.
So for everybody that was like, you're not going to be able to use all your 7 weapons or whatever, you use every single one of them during your kit. Not related to
we literally just counted to 7 right there.
Yeah, right.
Weapons, if
We
you,
counted
That's
to 7.
pretty good, right?
As was established, a little less than 1,000, but still 7 is we've never done that before.
We've never done 7.
Holy crap.
We really tried to put as many weapons as we could in here.
I mean, also his bash, he smacks people with his hand too, so there you go.
There you go.
There's even more.
Count as a weapon. Now, very important to note, for our very this players asking, it's slow. What are the timings here? The heavy attacks are slow, but the light attacks did 400 MS follow-ups.
Yeah.
So they're pretty fast.
Yeah.
Right. So they kind of
Top is undodgeable, again, to make sure that if people are going to go, hey, I can't, I want to make sure that I can, I'm not just going to mash dodge and beat all the lights. Well, actually, top is undodgeable, so you can't just mash light and always get away with it.
Nice.
That's right. Now, properties on the heavies as well, very quickly. every heavy attack follow-up has a different property. So top heavy follow-up does kind of extra damage, more than the other heavy follow-ups would do. The left side bleeds the target, get a little bit of damage over time there. And the right side pins the target. So you can see the weapon master has tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, you want to use different attacks in different situations. You know, it's pretty cool there.
Nice.
Right. So might have noticed, you know, we're always pressing the same button twice to get into those second weapons. Now, there is another move that can kind of use these weapons, and it's our zone attack. Now, our zone attack, as our players know, is a combination of a light attack and a heavy attack, which means you can follow that attack up with a light and heavy attack as well. So let's start from the right here. I'll follow up with a light attack. We'll do the same zone attack into a top light attack. Let's see if we can change stance fast enough. There we go. Good stuff. And we'll do the same on the right, on the other side.
See my extra.
See this reaction speed.
Yeah.
There we go. We'll see if we can do it on the other side. There we go. Those were the light attacks, and you can do the same with the heavy attacks as well. Now, why is all of this stuff important? Why is it important that you can access all these weapons? Now, you would have noticed, JC, very skillfully, completely unscripted, blocked everything, dodged everything I threw
It was
at
not
him.
planned at all.
So I'm going to ask him to
It felt a little practice, maybe just a little.
I'm going to ask him to not do it now and just get hit.
There's one thing, before we go into that, right? One thing we need to mention really is that you have a zone attack in chains as well, right?
This is true. You can use a zone attack as an extender. So if I do my light here, I can follow up with a zone attack. It's very smooth. It's very smooth. I can continue my chain the entire time. And the same goes for the right. It's for the heavy attacks here. Up into a zone, extender, and you would have seen there's a little property on there.
Yeah, it's armored, so that's really useful as well to trade and stuff. So
there you go.
I agree. That was very smooth. In fact, that's some top tier animation work.
Amazing animation. We'll get into animation team a little bit, but
give them all the time and all the credits shortly.
Yeah. So what's special about these weapons? Because I kept blocking them. I guess there's probably a reason why, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying
You're
not
better
to get
than
hit
me.
too
That's
much.
right. So let's get hit. So we'll start with the lights. Oof! Didn't dodge that one, right? So what? There's a glow now.
What is this?
Happened.
What is this? Like the little white thing on top?
Something happened. This is happening in every single direction. As I'm using the weapons on my back, I'm kind of getting into what we call the soul stance. You know, we talked about the souls, the soul collector. The souls of our enemies are in these weapons. Every time we hit, there's the pin on the right heavy follow-up. Same at the top. I keep collecting souls.
It's got a lot of souls going on.
There's a lot of souls.
Right?
Pretty good.
Now, the concept of this soul collector, the Sohei here, is we wanted to add a mini game to his design, right? We wanted to have players think a little bit ahead of what they're going to throw at their opponent and have a bit of this mini game of collecting the souls, getting all these souls up, so that by the time you get all of the souls up, there's something cool that happens.
They're kind of red now.
Yeah.
They're red now.
I remember seeing that red in the trailer. And I'm like, I wonder, some weird things happening. I don't know. They're going into the
souls are very angry
I don't
now,
know what's happening.
Yes.
But he looks like powered up or something.
He is powered up, and there's lots of speculation on what that meant.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not sure. What please show us because I have no idea.
Let's just let the game speak for itself.
Of course, right?
Ooh.
Okay.
Goes.
So I'm old, so I can't really see the combat log there, but I believe this says 95 damage, right?
That's right.
My goodness.
So
that's
essentially
a lot.
that move, that move you can only do it when you have all souls active, right?
Correct.
And only off of the front dodge bash, and it's off of a zone attack input.
That's right. So if you front dodge bash without the soul's zone attack, you just throw your zone attack. But
Like another attack or whatever, but yeah.
exactly right. But if you have your 6 souls, you unlock the special move, the 7-4 strike, using that Yari, using all the power of your souls to kind of embed your opponent there, dealing massive damage.
Extremely high damage.
This is a scary moment. We've seen it on the floor when
It is.
Sohei has all those souls up. It's scary. And he counts as well, right?
Yeah, right. Every time you gain 1 soul, he counts. It doesn't really matter which weapon is getting the soul first, but he's going to count from 1 to 6, like we've heard in the trailer.
We have, yeah.
Actually 1 to 5, and then he screams something else that we've probably heard there. But the idea here is really you want to be able to hit with all of your weapons to activate that special mode. All those souls are per weapon, so you have to land a hit with that weapon to gain a soul on that weapon. I can't just like keep mashing top lights or top heavies and getting on the other weapons. It's you have to hit once per weapon to get all that sort of stuff going.
Absolutely.
Crazy.
But at the same time, like, you know, if that was the only way to really gain souls, it would be really, really, really hard, right? Like, there's a lot of attacks here that, you know, people are going to parry, they're going to block, they're going to dodge. So is there any other ways to gain them?
There are. It's a weapon master. Of course, there are other ways.
course,
There's always more. So I've showed our dodge attacks. You know, or kind of forward light attack in this case. These can follow up with. Oh, let me just do that correctly here. With a light attack, but not only that, it can follow up from a light attack from any stance. The same goes for our heavy dodge attacks. You know,
Nice.
dodge to the right, follow up with the top. Dodge to the left, follow up with the right.
So I see a theme forming here where basically every option that Sohei has that is, you know, not like from neutral heavies or whatever, there's a reason why there's light and heavy sprint. There's a reason why there's light and heavy front dodge and side dodge. It's to get into those things, right? Because the chain flow of this hero is kind of unique where it's always using the same button twice. So because of this, you need to have a side dodge light into light or a side dodge heavy into heavy, right? We want to be able to reach into these things and again, give players a lot more reason as to why am I using my light or my heavy version. They have different properties as well, right? So the side dodge heavy has a big swipe where the side dodge light, for example, has a little poke. So sometimes you want to use the swipe, sometimes you want to use the poke. It doesn't really matter, but it also kind of depends on at what point you're at in your game plan, which weapons do you want to activate their souls from.
Gotcha.
That's right. Now we have a couple more. I'll run very quickly on through these. So you know we want players to see the whole kit, right?
Yeah,
Of
right.
course. So we've already showed the forward dodge bash, I believe. So this can follow up as well. You know we said that early on. This can follow up with lights or heavies again from any stance.
Yeah, again, from instance, this is kind of unique. We don't have that. It's very rare that we have this. Actually, they're dedicated follow-ups, but so they deal like, you know, we were able to tweak the damage accordingly. Everything's good, but they are stance-based. So if I do like, I can do a heavy from this side, or I can do a heavy from that side, right? So these have pretty good trajectories. Again, so if you want to be in a group fight, if you want to cover your sides, you can. You can still go top if you want, but it's all like kind of like really around the hero's game plan of what attack do I want to use in what situations, but also think about which soul do I want to activate to get to my 7/4 strike.
That's right. That's right. Now there's a couple of cool things that we've kind of added to this kit just to, you know, we realize that sometimes maybe you want another option. So we talked about the zone extender. Kind of throw that into your kind of combo. So I'll follow up here on the right and kind of zone. Let me just do a proper zone extender here. Up, up. Now, you know, that might be easy to parry, right? You know, you might think that, you know, every opponent's going to parry that. Easy. So we added the option to soft feint this attack into a guard break.
Yeah.
And let's look at we've gushed about how good these. Let me just hit you. How good these animations are. Oh, let me also just do it properly. So smooth.
Oh,
It is like, honestly,
smooth.
that, again, we'll have the animation team come later, but this is like one of the smoothest soft feints I've seen in the game. I'll do it from my point of view if people players want to see like a little bit more.
Wow.
Just from neutral, you can soft feint into guard break. It feels like amazing. And then if I go into a light, for example, again, like it feels extremely seamless. It's gorgeous. But then, so I guess there's a reason why you're showing us guard break, right?
Right.
Yes, there is a reason I'm showing guard break because there's an extra kind of follow up from a regular guard break. So if you do successfully guard break an enemy, you can follow up with 3 hits,
Nice.
getting all glows for that follow-up type. So 3 lights or 3 heavy. So if you are having trouble getting that last weapon out, just catch the opponent off with that guard break, follow up with whatever you're missing, bam, you're ready to go.
Yeah, right. So basically, if you manage to land 2 guard breaks and nobody's interrupting you, whatever, you can get 3 souls every time. Like you get all 3 light souls or all 3 heavy souls. It's light, 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 or heavy, heavy, heavy. You can't switch them midway, so we want players to commit a little bit more there. It makes it a little bit harder to get all the souls active. But it's pretty interesting, right? Because you can do that. And then you can off a guard break. You also have a zone attack. If what you want to do is regular damage, right? Because the important thing here is normally off of a guard break, you want to be able to execute somebody. You want to be able to do 24 damage with a heavy.
Yeah.
Those lights and heavy, heavy, heavies deal a lot less damage. but we want players to still have the option to be able to, I'm going to throw something that will deal, again, the regular damage, can potentially execute as well, which is kind of different there as well.
Yep.
We have sometimes zones that execute. They're really rare, but in this case, it also applies to the neutral zone here. That one can also execute, and the chain one as well. So it kind of fits in with that trick here. And also, something that's not super obvious, after light, I can go straight into my chain zone as well. So you can keep extending your flow after those like 3 little pokes that you have, or after heavies as well. So you guard break somebody, get 3 souls, and then go into a zone, keep your offense going.
Yeah.
It feels really, really good there.
Absolutely. And there's one final thing we want to show just before we jump into a little bit of setup here is I'm going to throw a heavy top at you here. Just to show,
let me just like get rid of all of my
this is true. Yeah.
souls there.
Yeah. Just an opportunity
So that
to
again.
7-4 strike me there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. So throw me a top heavy.
Throw it top heavy at you. Parry that one. Hup. Immediately follow up with a light or a heavy.
Or a heavy,
Again,
yeah.
in any stance. You know.
Exactly. So whenever you parry, you kind of shortcut to your soul stance, which lets you use any of your soul weapons, right? So any of the 6 weapons that are there. Just as an FYI, so players are aware, we know we had an early access period. You're probably going to see a bunch of videos from influencers
Soon, yeah.
coming out soon. We know there's a slight issue here where if you perform a heavy parry and you throw a heavy follow-up, you can parry the follow-up, but it's a 1-frame thing. We're working on a patch right now to solve this, to have a bit of a longer window. So we're aware of the issue. It's going to get fixed shortly, but not like as of tomorrow when it launches. So just so players are aware, we know about this. You don't need to go into the bug reporter putting a bug if you want to. We know it's good. It's going to get fixed, but just so people are aware.
Gotcha.
But you can throw, like, so if I parry a light, so you can do a dodge attack at me, for example, right?
Oh, a light dodge attack, is it?
Side dodge. You can do a heavy.
Light dodge, light, yeah. Okay.
Right, so it works. I can throw a side heavy. I'm going to get, I can get all my stuff. So it's really interesting. You get all of your souls through this. So the hero's entire kit is really built around how do I get my souls? How does I go, right? So now, Mike is going to go and set us up for us to show feats. And while he does this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the philosophy we had behind designing this hero, right? So
because this has been deep so far. It's
super
very
deep. And so
there's a
one
lot
of the
going
things
on
that
here.
so one of the things that we want to do is it's really unique. We want to build on this uniqueness. And it was the first time that we're trying to attempt to have an actual resource system.
Right.
We've never really had a resource system in For Honor before where you kind of have to build up a certain gauge or a resource. It's something I've seen mentioned like a lot of times by players like, we should have that on like Yorm, for example, like with runes or whatever. So we've been thinking about it for a long time. And we finally were able to build this with this hero. And with the concept of the 6 weapons, it came naturally to us to go, well, okay, cool. So we want to build a hero that like has all these weapons. So I want to be able to hit with all of these weapons. And then when I hit with them, I gain something. We tried a bunch of different things. We tried something where like you would, if you're familiar with like more traditional fighting games, there's a concept called an install. If you want to give this to Manu, because he can talk about it, know something happened. So there's a concept of an install, right? Well, when you activate something, you go into this really crazy powered up mode. We looked at this and it was like a bit too unpredictable, a bit too hard to control. So we really went towards, I'm getting all my resources, and once I have all of my resources, I gain access to a new move that deals a ton of damage, right?
Right.
That's super cool. Another thing that's super interesting in what we've done is, like you might have noticed from what we've had before in the, when Alex was talking earlier, that we can't quite customize the weapons. And that is very much on purpose. You'll be able to see, like, again, when we get back into the game. But as you look at the hero, you'll notice that, like, each of the handles has a different color. All the light attacks that you can use as Sohei have a white handle, and all the heavy attacks that you can use to pick those weapons has a brownish handle, right? And they're set in a very, very specific area around you. So when she was talking about how it influences gameplay, a lot of what that means is we wanted to make sure that when you're looking at a Sohei, right, because that move is so dangerous, when you're playing against them, you want to go, okay, I want to make sure they don't get access to that move, because once they do, once they unlock it, I'm probably going to be in trouble. So if you look at a Sohei from a player perspective, you look at him like as your opponent. From left to right, it means that the first weapon is a left light, then it's left heavy, then it's top light, top heavy, and then on the side it's right light, then right heavy. So just by looking at him and looking at those souls, the ones that are activated, you can tell which weapons he has used, which ones are activated, but also which ones he wants to use.
Right.
And so because it is like the Sohei really wants to have all 6 of those souls activated, so it kind of gives you a bit of a mind game of going, okay, he's missing only one. He's only missing his left light. Clearly, he's going to want to use his left light. So I'm going to make sure that because they're 400 MS, they're hard to block, I'm going to try to really deal with the left light and make sure that I'm always going to block in that stance. That also unlocks mix-ups and mind games from the Sohei's perspective that my opponent is expecting this, I can do something else instead. Right? So it's, again, we wanted to like give that freedom and that type of mind game and thought behind, I need to use all of my attacks, I need to use all of my hits to unlock that big crazy hit. It's not necessarily easy. We had to give shortcuts with the guard break and all sorts of stuff to be able to get into it a little bit easier so that it makes more sense. So it's really a different hero there.
Yeah.
The other thing that we did that we wanted to make it super unique was the flow, right? As I mentioned earlier, there's like, it's only light or heavy. And also in a fun twist, if you press zone, you press both buttons, so you get access to both light or heavy afterwards. So you really want to use your zone attacks with this hero because it'll chain to either your light or your heavy, so it gives you a bit more freedom as to where you're going to be going, which weapons you're going to use, makes you a little bit more unpredictable, but at the same time, there's slower attacks, they're a bit more complicated, so it's kind of different there.
Yeah.
The last point is something to keep in mind when you're playing against Sohei. You have to respect his guard breaks, much more than a lot of other heroes.